Over 3 million people watched that draft at peak. And so it's really important to have those household names. These players, we have the confluence of a lot of positive elements happening right now with these generational players with huge social media followings.
The WNBA's biggest star, Caitlin Clark, is driving numbers like the league has never seen before. But here's the kicker. It might not be enough. With the NBA towering over the WNBA at a $73.8 billion valuation, Clark's explosive rookie season is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Sure, her highlights are racking up millions of views, and playoff games featuring her Fever squad hit record highs, like that Game 2 against the Sun, which pulled 2.5 million viewers on ESPN. But the WNBA's challenge goes way beyond viral moments. Even with a fresh $2.2 billion media rights deal in the bag, Cathy Engelbert and the WNBA face an uphill battle. The question on everyone's mind, can one star, even one as iconic as Clark, really change the league's future? And if not, how does the WNBA keep its momentum alive before the clock runs out? We're about to dig into why Clark's presence, while massive, isn't the silver bullet the WNBA hoped for, and what's really at stake as overseas leagues start knocking on the door. Stick around, because what happens next could reshape the future of women's basketball entirely. The stakes aren't just about one season or one player. They're about whether the WNBA can keep up in a game where every second counts. The league has momentum, but if it fumbles now, it risks slipping back into the shadows just as quickly as it emerged into the spotlight. The league did make a big move this summer, locking in an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon. It's a significant boost in visibility, with over 125 games set to broadcast annually across these platforms. But when you compare the WNBA's $200 million annual payout to the NBA's jaw-dropping $75 billion, the gap is glaring. As CNBC's Alex Sherman put it, this new deal is a pittance in the grand scheme of things. Sure, the additional exposure is nice. More games on national TV means more chances to grow the audience. But if the WNBA can't capitalize on Clark's momentum, and fast, that exposure won't mean much. Engelbert knows this, and she also knows the challenge isn't just financial. The real test is making sure the league remains relevant, even after the buzz around Clark inevitably starts to fade. And if there's one thing that's already making waves, it's the drama surrounding Clark's rise. Clark hasn't just attracted fans. She's drawn her fair share of controversy. Her presence on the court has triggered a series of heated moments with other players. From Chennedy Carter's shoulder check to Diamond DeShields fouling her twice in under a minute, it seems like everyone wants a piece of Clark. Her fans, fiercely loyal, have taken these moments personally, fueling online debates and creating a media frenzy. But it's not just about hard fouls. There's a deeper layer to the tension, one that taps into the complicated relationship between race and sports. The WNBA has historically been dominated by Black athletes, and Clark's rise has stirred uncomfortable conversations. Players like Angel Reese have voiced concerns about the way Clark is celebrated, hinting that the attention she receives isn't just about her talent, but also about her being white. The fallout? A league caught between capitalizing on Clark's popularity and managing the tensions her rise has sparked. Cathy Engelbert tried to diffuse the situation by comparing Clark's rivalries to iconic sports moments, like Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. But the backlash was swift. Many felt the comparison was tone-deaf, especially given the racial undertones surrounding Clark's rise. Engelbert quickly walked back her comments, but the message was clear. The WNBA is walking a tightrope, trying to ride the wave of Clark's success without alienating its core audience. And that's the thing. Clark's popularity is a double-edged sword. While she's undeniably brought new fans to the league, the WNBA can't rely on her forever. Even the finals hit a 25-year high in viewership without Clark in them, which proves the league has potential beyond just one player. But turning that potential into sustainable growth is easier said than done. Engelbert knows this better than anyone. If the league doesn't find a way to build around Clark, and fast, it risks becoming a flash-in-the-pan success. But there's an even bigger challenge looming on the horizon. Other players are already looking overseas, tempted by the higher salaries offered in EuroLeague. The WNBA's salary cap limits what players can earn, with the top salary set at around $241,000. Compare that to the $1.5 million some EuroLeague stars pull in. And you can see why the WNBA might have a retention problem on its hands. Clark herself could be tempted to split her time between leagues, taking advantage of Europe's longer seasons and bigger paychecks. And if that happens, the WNBA will have a hard time keeping the momentum going. The buzz around Clark is powerful, but if she starts spending more time overseas, the league's reliance on her could backfire. Engelbert has to act fast, not just to keep Clark engaged, but to build a roster of stars that can carry the league forward, even if Clark isn't on the court full-time. The WNBA isn't just competing with the NBA, it's also up against the global basketball market. And here's where things get dicey. Players like Clark now have opportunities that go far beyond U.S. soil. The EuroLeague, often considered Europe's top basketball competition, offers higher salaries, longer seasons, and perks that make it hard to ignore, with top players earning up to $1.5 million per season. It's no surprise that many stars have already split their time between the WNBA and Europe. Even Clark, fresh off her rookie success, could easily follow this path. EuroLeague runs from October to April, which fits perfectly into the WNBA's offseason. This means Clark and other WNBA stars can play year-round, boosting both their skills and their earnings. And it's not just about the money. The competition overseas is fierce, with top teams from Russia, Turkey, and Spain giving players a new level of challenge. For someone like Clark, this could be the perfect way to keep growing her brand and taking her game to the next level. But the WNBA isn't thrilled about this prospect. Losing players to EuroLeague, even part-time, is a major problem. Less time on U.S. courts means fewer viral moments, less visibility, and fewer opportunities to market the league's stars. The WNBA knows it can't afford to lose its brightest talent, not when it's finally starting to gain momentum. And yet, with the financial disparity between the leagues, keeping players from exploring these overseas opportunities is a challenge the WNBA hasn't figured out how to solve. This is where Cathy Engelbert finds herself at a crossroads. She's built up the league's profile with the media rights deal and successfully capitalized on Clark's star power. But now she needs to make sure it isn't a one-player show. If Clark spends more time overseas, or if other top players follow her lead, the WNBA risks losing its grip on the very momentum it's worked so hard to build. Engelbert has to think long-term. The WNBA can't keep relying on one generational talent to draw viewers. It needs to cultivate a roster of stars who can carry the league even if Clark isn't around. That means better compensation, smarter marketing, and more support for the league's existing players. The current salary structure won't cut it if Engelbert hopes to keep top talent from bolting for Europe, where perks like free housing, transportation, and tax-free paychecks are part of the deal. But it's not just about money. Engelbert has to address the underlying tensions within the league, both on the court and off. Rivalries, controversies, and fan drama can boost viewership in the short term, but they also run the risk of alienating players and audiences alike. The WNBA has to strike a balance between capitalizing on these rivalries and ensuring the league remains a place where players want to stay. Engelbert's challenge is clear. If she can't figure out how to make the WNBA a sustainable and desirable destination for players, Clark's success might become the exception, not the rule. What's happening in women's basketball right now feels like the start of a major shift. Just like European soccer became the gold standard for the sport, there's a real possibility that the EuroLeague could become the go-to destination for women's basketball talent. With higher pay, better perks, and the chance to compete at a global level, it's hard to ignore the appeal of playing overseas. If Clark thrives in the EuroLeague, and let's be real, she probably will, other players will take notice. The lure of bigger contracts and new competition might encourage rising stars to skip the WNBA altogether and head straight for Europe. This isn't just speculation. It's already happening in men's basketball, with top prospects bypassing the NBA draft to play internationally. If the same trend catches on in the women's game, the WNBA could find itself in serious trouble. The stakes are high. If the WNBA can't compete financially or offer the same level of opportunity, it could lose its standing as the premier women's basketball league. That's a future Engelbert and the league will need to fight hard to avoid. The key will be figuring out how to retain talent, grow viewership, and build a sustainable model, all while fending off the rising influence of European leagues. At the heart of this story is a simple but pressing question. Can the WNBA truly compete with the NBA's global dominance? The media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon is a good start, but it's just the beginning. The The WNBA can't rely solely on one player, no matter how incredible Caitlin Clark is. If the league doesn't build a solid foundation with multiple stars, the momentum it has now could slip away just as quickly as it arrived. Clark's presence has undeniably elevated the WNBA, drawing in new fans and creating viral moments. But Cathy Engelbert's challenge is figuring out how to turn that short-term buzz into long-term growth. The WNBA must find a way to offer competitive compensation, develop new stars, and address the tensions within the league. Because without those pieces in place, even a generational talent like Clark won't be enough to keep the league afloat. The global landscape of women's basketball is shifting, and the WNBA is running out of time to position itself as a leader. If Engelbert can't meet the challenge head-on, the WNBA risks becoming a stepping stone for players on their way to bigger opportunities overseas. Clark's rise has shown what's possible, but now the real work begins. Because if the WNBA can't step up, it won't just lose Clark. It might lose the future of the game. If you've made it this far, let us know what you think in the comments section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.